I want to start with a little story, though. It's about Mother Mouse. Now, little Mother Mouse and her babies were coming around the corner of the house, and when they got around the corner, there was the cat. Now, the cat was looking hungry and getting ready to pounce, and Mother Mouse knew she had to do something. So she raised up as big as she could be, and she looked at that cat and she said, "Arf, arf, arf." Well, the cat wasn't expecting that, was startled and ran. So Mother Mouse turned to the babies and she said, "Never, never underestimate the power of language, and especially if you can use a new language." And I was a language teacher, so I love that story. But it also tells us something about making choices and changing what might happen. But we do that with language, but we do it with our thoughts. Paul wrote to the Romans in it's Romans 12, verse 2, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." The renewing of your mind. We can renew our minds. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Well, if we're going to talk about changing our minds, let's look at how we create our minds. We have the mind, we have the brain, but the mind is not the physical part. The mind is what we use when we create thoughts. And I want to talk about this third unity principle. We are conscious, creative beings, and we co-create our lives with God. So the principle 3 is human beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. And we're creative. So Mother Mouse was pretty good, but we go beyond that. What I'm saying is that everything happens twice, 2 times. First in thought, and then in form. So, for example, look at this little church. I think it was a Quonset hut at one time. But somebody in their mind said, let's make this a church. And so they found some windows and they made their plans and they structured this house. So first it was in thought, and then it became form. So what we think, not everything that we think. I mean, there are passing thoughts that we say, no, forget that. But things that we hold in mind and produce after their kind. So if we're constantly telling ourselves how horrible we are, why did we do that? Why didn't we do this? If we're constantly complaining about ourselves or anyone else, what are we doing? We are creating something we don't want. So I want to look at our thoughts a little bit more, because our thoughts create our lives. It's not the guy down the street. It's not our mother or father. It's not circumstances that we can't stand. Those don't create our lives. We create our lives with our thinking. And our thinking goes this way. We have a thought. For example, let's suppose we can smell some chocolate chip cookies. Everybody like chocolate chip cookies? Okay, as you're thinking about those chocolate chip cookies, how do you feel? I'm looking forward to something here. And so what happens? I go find a cookie and I eat it. And that's the way we create our lives, with our thoughts. And our thoughts are connected to our feelings. So then we have action. So thoughts and feelings go together. The action, oh, those cookies smelled so good, and so I'm going to eat one. That was the action. And what is the result? Well, don't eat too many, but the result is I enjoyed a cookie, and maybe I had a cookie with you too. So that's how we create our lives, action by action. Well, let's take another scenario. I was stopped at a red light one day, and I looked in the mirror and I saw a car barreling right toward me. So I thought, oh no. And of course, oh yes, she hit me, the lady hit me. Okay, so what was my thought then? Oh my gosh, she hit me. What's the next thought? Is it a thought of the stupid blankety blank? What the blank is wrong with her? Or she's killed me, she's ruined my car. That thought brings what kind of action? I get out of my car and I give it to her. So that's a negative thought. That's a thought that creates perhaps chaos, more destruction. I don't want to do that. So I'm a creative creature. So what can I do? I don't have to berate this woman. I do not have to say things that I might regret later. I don't have to do that because I have choice. I am made in the image of the creator of the universe. I'm made in the image of God. So I can give myself another choice. And my other choice might be asking how she is. Giving her some feeling of I'm not that horrible person that I'm thinking right now. So I can change something that could even cause more problems. I can change my thinking and be kind and considerate to this other human being who didn't really want to ruin her car either. So we have a choice in our thinking. So what do we focus on in our thoughts? That's going to create the next thing that happens. So we have the thoughts with the feelings and then the actions. So we want to create feelings that are positive. Jesus said, do you know you are God's? And by that he meant we are more powerful than we think we are. So our thinking and our actions can be reactive or they can be responsive to the human being that we're talking to. So I'm responsible for my life. I'm responsible for what happens in my life. It's not the other person. Blaming, shaming, complaining are not what we have to do when something happens that we don't like. We have our choice to create an experience that might be, in the case of that accident, it could have been really hard on both of us. Actually, there were a couple of policemen just across the street. They didn't seem to be worried at all. I guess it didn't look as bad to them as I thought it was. So they just said, well, exchange information, and you're all okay? Yes, okay. So I didn't leave that girl feeling angry or ashamed or anything like that. We don't need to do that. Where does shame and complaining and whining take us? Not to where we want to go or to where other people want to go. So, how can we then be more conscious? Please be more conscious of your thoughts and your thinking. What are some things that we can do to be our best selves every day? Well, one of the things I do every morning is I get up and say, I love my life. I even look in the mirror and say, hi, I love you too. I couldn't do that a few years ago. I can today, because I know my thoughts are going to give me feelings that will carry action through my day. So being positive when you get up, and some say before you go to bed, say something positive, maybe even journal a little bit, either at night or in the morning, about what you love about your life, what you can change about your life. I had a friend, for 5 years, we called each other at 7:30 in the morning, and we told each other 10 things that we loved about life. And it was a great way to start a morning. So I don't have to create disharmony. I can create what I choose, which is focusing on life and life-giving things. I asked ChatGPT, AI, to give me three ways to create positive self-reflection. And it told me I should set small, accomplishable goals for the day instead of something that I maybe can't accomplish at the end of the day, which would give me a downer, right? So it told me create a routine so that we create or we start habits. If we have things that we don't want to carry on with us and we really want to make a change, then create a new routine. Our habits create pathways in our heads, as I understand. And we can change those habits if we make a concerted effort to make the change. So create a consistent routine. And then third, surround yourself with support. Be around people like you, like-minded people who can offer encouragement to you, offer positive suggestions to you, who can just make the day a better day, just like we're making our day a better day, for me anyway, being here with all of you and hopefully enjoying. I don't think they're chocolate chip cookies, but there's some good things back. And then also be accountable to yourself. Have I done what I said I was going to do? And if I didn't, be okay with that. Be kind to yourself and say, well, let's look how else we can change so that we can create this other change we would like to create. So, in closing, love yourself first so that you can create loving actions and those feelings that bring those loving actions. Do what you can with what you have right now. You may have some great project in mind, but don't get upset if you can't get this great project off right now. Take one day at a time and be positive and productive and loving to yourself and everybody else. So your thoughts create your feelings and your actions. Be aware and have some fabulous thoughts today. Thank you.